Photography Daily, the assignment.
It's the first of our brand new assignment days, where our special guest sets a photography challenge or a way to think about your picture making for the next week. It's a challenge for everybody. Whatever interests you have, whatever camera you hold, film, larger format, DSLR, mirrorless, compact, smartphone, it's all about the picture that you see. As always, there's a show page on the website, photographydaily.show, and I'd love for you to share the pictures you make for this challenge, which I can upload to the show page for this edition. You can check back, of course, to see pictures from previous editions as we make our way through the weeks. And before we meet our special guest, my thanks to our wonderful patrons and mpb.com who sponsor this show, the number one company in the UK, the US and Europe when it comes to buying, selling and trading used camera kit online. It's a safe place to do business with guarantees upon what you buy and product specialists who are photographers and creators who've been answering questions you send in on our Friday Photo Walk show. And this Friday, my guest is Magnum's Alex Soth.
You know, we all talk about digital photography and how there are too many pictures in the world. And there have always been too many pictures in the world. It's one shouldn't think of it that way. And I had this epiphany at some point of an analogy that photographs are like flowers, and no one complains that there are too many flowers in the world.
Alex Soth, and join me for the Photo Walk edition this Friday. Right. Let's meet our guest for today, setting you a challenge for the new week. It is Sean Tucker.
The assignment.
So Sean, the first one, really, I guess you could say it's all about tomorrow's nostalgia. Noticing things today that will be important in years to come.
Yeah, so I thought maybe you could go out and photograph things that you see every day that are very normal to us now, but trying to take a little bit of time travel into the future 30 years and think about how that stuff will be seen when we get down the road. And I think that, the one example I always think of is we complain about everyone always being on their mobile phones, looking at their phones. I hear street photographers complaining about it.
Yeah.
Why is everyone staring at their phone? But in the 50s, street photographers were complaining about the fact that everyone had their head in a newspaper. But now when we see some guy with a cool hat on and his head in a newspaper, that's a great shot. And I think things change over time. And what will it look like to people, 30, 40 years down the line where mobile phones might not be a thing? We might have moved on to something else. But we can tell them about this time where we all had this electronic rectangle in our hand that lit up our faces at night. There might be something very cool about that. So almost photograph like a historian and think about how things that we take for granted now will look in 40 or 50 years to come.
And I suppose the easy thing would be just to think of the phone, the gadget, but there must be so many other things when you open your eyes as you walk the street that won't be there or won't be so prolific in 20, 30 years' time.
Yeah, you think of even cars. It's so common now to go and find, the back of an old car and photograph it at a cool angle because the shapes of those cars used to be amazing and now they're a bit boring. Or go and find an old diner, the kind of diner porn stuff that you see on Instagram now is pretty prolific.
Yes.
But what are those for us now? It's a good exercise to be thinking forwards because so many of us are trying to photograph for the likes of the attention we can get on an image today.
Yeah.
Try taking the long view of it and think, what if I was collecting a catalog of images now that only got released in 40 years? We never do that because we want the instant attention, but collect things now which we're anticipating will be nostalgic for people way down the road.
Well,
it's a really good way of...
And I'm thinking of one, sorry to interrupt you, but I'm thinking of one straight away. You sort of, you've illuminated the light bulb in that I'm thinking of on the A10 road between Hartford and Cambridge, the road that I used to travel every day to go to work. There was a diner. Well, you said diner. It wasn't so much an old American-y diner, but it was a good old British greasy spoony diner. Mm-hmm. But it was one called, and I don't know whether you remember this brand, but if I see pictures of it, I get very gooey-eyed. It was the Golden Egg.
Oh yes. Yeah.
And they're the kind of things that, and the old Esso pumps that used to be, they used to be not round.
Oval.
Oh, thank you. Oval.
Yeah.
They used to be, didn't they? They used to sit on top of the pump. So everything changes.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's in this country, for me, it was as a kid, the little chefs.
Yeah, oh, God,
Up and down the motorways,
Yeah.
which I always was obsessed with because they had these cherry pancakes. Like it was a big block of vanilla ice cream and this cherry, hot cherry sauce with cherries in it with a pancake folded over was just my childhood treat. And
And in fact, I think the golden egg that I'm talking about turned into a little chef.
All right, there you go.
And then I saw it sadly turn into a housing estate. But that's So all those things, and phones are a good place to start, aren't they?
Yeah, just notice in your city or your bit of countryside, wherever you are, what won't be there in 30 or 40 years, or what will have definitely changed a lot.
So the assignment really is go and be a historian.
Yes.
Yeah.
Photograph like a historian.
And that's our challenge for this week. I'll be delighted to see what you produce and would love to show them on today's corresponding show page on the website, photographydaily.show. Music on the show is from artlist.io. Production assistance from Neil Ford and Emily Renier. And I look forward to photographing with you, hearing from you and talking with you on the Photo Walk.
The Assignment is a Loading Zone production.